Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please remember to like and subscribe. And please, as I've said before, do vote for us as Best Podcast Premier League at the Football Content Awards. Go on their website. The link I'll post below as well in the comment section will be the pinned tweet. Please do vote for us. Help us get that award. Anyway, Aston Villa play Bayern Munich. Wow. It's been a long old time, old friends, our old Bavarian friends. Um, Now, I've done an interview already with German football expert and broadcaster Max Merrill. If you want to go and check that out to hear his expertise on how Bayern have been playing this season under Vincent Kompany, their new manager. Obviously, he was at Burnley last season. But, I thought I'd do a very quick rundown of what I think might happen at Villa Park. Some various theories as to what will happen. It doesn't really take a lot to say, though, does it, that Bayern Munich are pretty feckin' good. Yes, maybe one of the best teams we'll have gone up against in a very, very long time. Now, let's just get up some of their more recent results. So, at the weekend, their long winning run that they've just been on came to an end where they drew 1-1 with Bayer Leverkusen, the seemingly borderline invincible Leverkusen, who really have a number over Bayern. That ended 1-1, but before that, beat Werder Bremen away 5-0. They beat Dynamo Zagreb in the last Champions League game 9-2 at home. Worth noting, though, while they scored 9 goals, they did concede 2. So, every cloud. I feel like David Brent in The Office when he tells them they've all lost their jobs, but he's won an award. Every cloud. Holstein Kiel 1, Bayern 6. Oh dear. Bayern 2, SC Freiburg 0, and Wolfsburg 2, Bayern 3. So, look, it doesn't take a genius to work out they're pretty bloody good, does it? Now, let's go to the tactical pad. Okay, well, I've got up here what I think the team is going to look like for Bayern, at least, or close to it. Basically, there you go. Kimmich and Pavlovic as the double pivot in midfield, a sort of 4-2-3-1. Manuel Neuer, whose name I've annoyingly spelled incorrectly there, or he's also correct, done it. Anyway, Manuel Neuer in goal, of course. He can have a big dick energy off with Emi Martinez. In defence, Guerrero at right back, former Borussia Dortmund man, Upamecano, the French international. Big, strong, wins a lot of aerial duels, but is prone to the odd mistake, and it can get into his head. Kim Min-jae as well, another player who was brilliant at Napoli. Last season wasn't so great for Bayern. A lot of sort of fell out the team. Tuchel went with Eric Dyer instead. Obviously, they signed from Tottenham for 5 million. Looks like Dyer's back out the team now. He's back on the bench, and Kim's come back in and won Kompany's favour. Danger man. The man that I am being kept up at night about. Alphonso Davies, Canadian international. Talk a bit more about him in a second. Double pivot with Kimmich and Pavlovic. Pavlovic, 20 years of age, I think, German international, fantastic player. And Kimmich, brilliant as well. Of course, a German legend already. Fantastic, as Pep Guardiola once described him when he managed him and converted him from a fullback into a midfielder. I love this boy, is what he said. So if Guardiola loves you, you got to be pretty good. Michael Elise, we know him well from Crystal Palace, a player who destroyed us last season on the final day of last season. Of course, Villa were on the beach, but what Elise did all the time, he kept coming inside over and over again, kept getting that ball. And if he comes inside, well, Musiala can overlap him. Guerrero can get forward. Just, various movement, confuses the defence. It's hard to keep track of, and that is something you can do as well as going down the line and going out wide. Long old day for Luca Dean or Ian Matson, whoever it's going to be. Jamal Musiala, absolutely phenomenal player. Could have played for England, but he played for Germany. Serge Gnabry out on the left, former West Brom man, couldn't get in Tony Pulis' team. It looks like he's coming back into form. And then the man we all know about, Harry Kane. So it looks like he's fit, got an ankle injury at the weekend. Now, if Kane isn't fit for the full 90, could they bring on a Leroy Sané to play as a sort of false 9 and they all, the fast forwards, they all interchange and move around a lot? Maybe they could try and get, 60 minutes out of Kane at the least. Maybe they could bring on another German legend in Thomas Muller to play up front. That's not really a position he plays that much. Or they could do a Kingsley Coman goes there, Serge Gnabry goes up front, Coman goes out left. There's various options. Tal or Tell as well. Player I don't know too well, but again, highly rated. Now, with Aston Villa, to be honest, I don't 100% know what Unai Emery's going to do. Now, one game to bear in mind from last season, he went with a back five, didn't he, against Tottenham in the first half. Went into that game clearly thinking Villa were coming off the back of a very tough European adventure. Tottenham had obviously, I think, 2 weeks off at that point for some reason. Maybe went into it thinking Tottenham, they start fast, they start hard, they start strong. So what do? Well, you got to, um, keep them out in the first half, and then maybe second half you go at them when they tire out. 0-0. We didn't give them a single chance really in the first half, but then it all collapsed after one mistake from Ezri Konsa, fell asleep, passed it straight to a Spurs player. Spurs come forward, score a goal, and then we just completely fell apart. Head to end, and we lost 4-0. One of our worst performances last season. But that all happened in the second half. And the back five, it was defensively, it sort of numbed. It did numb Tottenham, but what it also did was it gave Villa a whole world of problems where trying to go forward, we simply couldn't find the outball. So that is something that Emery has done before. I'm not ruling out we see some type of tactical shift tomorrow. Were it to go to a back three, maybe Konsa goes central, maybe Carlos comes out right, maybe Bogard comes in or Nedeljkovic or whoever, that would probably be it. But I'm sort of inclined to think he probably won't change it up too much and goes with the 4-4-2. Now, the one problem, and we've been talking about this ad nauseum, isn't it? We found out the hard way against Ipswich. This back right area is really vulnerable, and it's something we talked about right at the start of the season when we were looking at Aston Villa's squad on this channel. We covered it in depth when we looked at Villa's squad and thought there was so much depth, it was so strong, but there was something about this back right area that does just leave you wondering, or wishing we'd been able with PSR restrictions to get Gertruida as a new right back who can play centre back as well. Because at the moment we're having to play Conster outright because the backup options are inexperienced. Matty Cash is injured. Carlos is playing centre back. Carlos is out of form. He's not playing well. And Conser's tendency is to always come inside. He did it last season when we played Bournemouth away and drew 2-2. He comes inside and he leaves gaps out here. He's just naturally what he does. And he did it against Ipswich as well. Left this sort of space here for last season, it was Semenyo. I remember playing out left for Bournemouth, who was coming in out, getting a lot of room out here. And you were like, where's he found all that space? It was because Conser kept coming in naturally inside because it's where he's just naturally he just is where he plays. And then at the weekend, he came inside again. And Leif Davis was constantly coming in here. Bailey wasn't tracking back. And Leif Davis, who we warned about again in the preview, was finding acres and acres of space in that first half and causing us lots and lots of problems. Now, if that is to be repeated tomorrow, well, if Serge Gnabry is running down there and Alphonso Davies is coming back and Leon Bailey isn't necessarily the strongest defender, he works hard, and I'm sure it's going to be drilled into him. Like, if he is starting out right, he's going to have to come back and defend as much as bloody possible. But if we leave gaps out here for Davis and Gnabry to just exploit, I mean, we're going to ask for an absolute world of pain. But we really bloody are. So that right-hand side I'm sure Emery is just going on and on and on at them about what they're going to have to do. And Onana as well. And Nana's going to have to cover. Because bear in mind at the weekend, when Konsa came forward, he made that pass into... he gave the ball away and there was an acre of space for Liam Delap to run into. Carlos didn't know where to stick or twist. Delayed going in to challenge him, and Liam Delap had acres of room to run into. Onana was slow to react, didn't get back and cover, and Konsa was slow to get back as well. And look, if we leave those type of gaps at Bayern Munich, again, I mean, we're just going to get punished. Now, what I would say is I don't think Villa are going to play that style. I don't think we're going to be the team that is the more ascendant, dominant team tomorrow. So do I think there will necessarily be the kind of gaps that we saw against Ipswich open up when we were pushing forward and getting caught, on the break? Maybe it will happen a couple of times and Villa try and break forward and do try and go at Bayern. There may be spells tomorrow where we try that. But on the whole, I think we probably have to accept that Bayern Munich are going to be the more dominant team. Now, it's extremely exciting. We're in the Champions Bloody League. I'm going to be there. I cannot wait to hear that music playing in the stadium. The atmosphere for the first 10 minutes is going to be absolutely electric. And Villa are going to be high energy and we're going to go in hard on them. We're going to try our bloody best to sort of unsettle them. Bayern, of course, though, have that experience, and Bayern will likely have the majority of possession. So it's on us as fans as well to keep up the noise level to try and back the team. Because let's face it, Bayern this season, they've had a lot of games where they probably haven't really had too hostile an atmosphere in a lot of places. And they played a lot of teams who they know a lot about, and a lot of teams in Germany that are just going to sit and defend. And in a way, some of these teams, to be fair, probably think they've lost before they're even playing them. But Bayer Leverkusen showed a way. Leverkusen showed that it can be done. And, Zagreb as well got 2 goals and I think conceded bloody 9. But they were able to exploit Bayern on the counter. If Zagreb can do it, Aston Villa can do it. Because what do we have? We have the Stampede. We have Jacob Ramsey, Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, Leon Bailey. And if you want Ian Matson coming down the left, if he's the one to play, add to that attacking force, or you want an Nedeljkovic to come down the right and do it, we do have the Aston Villa Stampede. It's like the bloody Lion King. I've said it before this season. If you give space to Aston Villa, that is where we really, really can cause you problems. And let's imagine if Villa's sitting a bit deeper, we sort of, because Emery is a fantastic manager. Look at what he did to Arsenal this season. Look at how he cut off their passing lanes. I talked about it, didn't I? I said Odegaard Island, which is kind of out here, where Odegaard loves to operate, where Bukayo Saka loves to interchange with him, and where the Ben White loves to come down the right. And what they do is they interchange around here and they get a ball in and whatnot and whatever else. But they come inside, they hit it, and they try and work spaces. But what was happening was that Villa, Morgan Rogers was sitting a bit deeper. Leon Bailey was coming across like this. We had the left midfielder was John McGinn, and McGinn was coming out here and cutting off that passing channel into Odegaard and Saka. So there wasn't really anywhere for Arsenal to go. And Arsenal were inverting their fullback. So, the mid would put, maybe a mid would push up, the fullback would come inside. I think it was Jurriën Timber that day. And then they'd go into a back 3. And what would Villa do? We just stick close to that inverted fullback and we wouldn't really let them play. So again, Unai Emery has a great record against Bayern Munich in previous teams, Villarreal. And I think that I've mentioned John McGinn's name. I think he's a massive, massive miss for this game. I really do. I think his defensive ability in this game was perfect. It's such a shame he's not playing. Same goes for Matty Cash as just a solid right back option. They're big misses. But anyway, we have a class team who, if they're given instructions and they follow it, can cause Bayern a few problems in the sense of can sort of disrupt their rhythm. And they might get more and more frustrated and they might push up and up and up and their attack might get even more aggressive. Now, what Bayern like to do is they like to push their fullbacks up. So, let's put Pavlovic back there. Gnabry comes inside. Maybe Alphonso Davies comes down the wing. Musiala's out there. And then it can go into back 3 with the double pivot. Kimmich and Pavlovic waits. Maybe Kimmich can even come forward and support. But you've got Upamecano, Guerrero and Kim as a back 3. Just waiting there. As a back 3, with Villa's pace, if someone like a Yuri Tielemans can just see that, if we can win the ball back here and someone like a Tielemans gets a bit of space and just sees a pass into Jacob Ramsey and Jacob Ramsey runs into space and Watkins moves over and Rogers comes in here, there's absolutely a way that Villa can definitely hurt this team on the break. And this is how Bayern Munich have tended to lose games in the past. And Bayern Munich play very similarly to the German national team. The German national team, why have they continuously lost at um, international finals in the last 10 years? They won the 2014 World Cup, but since then, what has happened over and over again to them? They push all their players forward. They have five up top. They have a double pivot maybe in here with Tony Cruz and whoever else. But then they get caught, and every single time their high line gives chances away. And I can think of Mexico did it to them, Japan did it to them, I think Spain did it to them. There's numerous examples in that South Korea did it to them. There are numerous examples in the last 10 years where Germany have been caught on the break with a defense that sits in, defends for their lives or defends intelligently, cuts off passing channels, frustrates the Germans. Manuel Neuer starts trying to play the bloody hero. And who knows, there may be even an occasion where they invert Guerrero, push Kimmich further forward, and they go hyper aggressive and go to a back three that actually it's a back two of Upamecano and Kim, and Neuer comes in to fill the back three because he's great on the ball and he's hyper confident. There may be an occasion where Bayern, they have done that this season, but they've done that with Neuer functioning in the back three. So maybe they do that, and Aston Villa again can catch them. I'm just saying that Bayern Munich are going to be aggressive pressing forward tomorrow. And there's no reason to think that Villa can't at some point get that ball, win it back, in our own defensive third, work a ball into a Ramsey quickly or work a ball into Tielemans. Tielemans can pick a ball over the top or a ball in behind front deep into a Watkins or a Rodgers or a Bailey. And Jacob Ramsey can charge into space and Villa can, Watkins can come across or Rodgers can come here and there can be all this different movement. I really think tomorrow is a day where Villa can hit Bayern hard on the break. And I think we have the stampede. We have the Villa stampede, the players who have the capability to do that. Now, what you have to say as well is that Aston Villa do not have experience as a team playing in a game of this magnitude against a side of this ability. This is a very new experience for Aston Villa of recent years. It just is, right? So it is going to be there are going to be growing pains, right? And what I'll say is this, whatever happens tomorrow, if Bayern Munich walk in and win 5-1, as they've done to Arsenal numerous times in recent years, as they've done to numerous top clubs, you just hold your hands up and you go, okay, Bayern can do that to teams. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But if Bayern walk in tomorrow and win 4-1, they win 5-1, or they win 3-2 or 3-1, whatever it is, this is a game where you go, all right, we're Aston Villa. We have now played Bayern Munich in the Champions League. We're a team of players who, firstly, qualify for the Champions League. We can get into the Champions League. We can play teams like Bayern Munich, and we take this experience, whatever happens, win, lose, or draw, whether it's a massive win for us, or whether it's a hard-fought draw, or it's a battering, whatever it is, you take this forward as a club, you take this forward as players, and you grow from it. They're professional footballers. They're fantastic football players. And they take it into the future and they grow from it and they remember the experience, whatever happens, and figure out, you know what, this is what caused this to happen last time. So we're going to ensure that doesn't happen again next time, right? And Aston Villa are in a growth maturation process under our amazing manager, Unai Emery. That's where we are. He signed on to 2029. This cannot be the peak of Unai Emery's era that we qualified for the Champions League once and had a good run and then we went out. No, this has to be what Villa are now. This is what we do regularly. And, whether we get Europa League this season, still, we look to next season and go, we're going to get Champions League again next season. We just have to that's what we have to be. That's always has to be our ambition now as a team that believes or knows we belong here with this company and we grow from this experience. And I'm sure Villa can do it, whatever happens tomorrow. Now, look, I think it's a big day for Onana, I think it's a big day for Onana. Now, Onana, there have been occasions, I think, this season where Dwight McNeil caught him out for the goal, didn't he, against Everton, where he was slow on the ball. He plays quite a lot of safe passes every now and again. That's fine. But again, at the weekend, I think he was slow to get back for the Delap second goal, or I think he was slow to read that there might be jeopardy behind him. And there was a space opened up behind him. But I actually think the big mistake he made this weekend, I think, was when Ipswich's first goal, Konsa gave the ball away. God only knows what he's doing. Comes out wide and Onana is jogging back into the area. He's jogging back. And what he should have done is sprint in and cut off that pullback because it came to Delap and he hits it first time. If Onana sprints instead of jogging back, he cuts that out. But where I will praise Onana, I think he's fitted in really well. He's got a really nice complementary partnership with Tielemans. Where I really like him is that if you remember to the Wolves game, if you look at his tackles and interceptions in that game, he had by far the most of the team. And the reason he did is in that first half, Wolves were battering us, to be quite frank. We came into that game and we started slow, right? We won't tomorrow. I don't think we start slow tomorrow, but we did start slow against Wolves, right? As we did against Everton. And Onana made numerous tackles in that game, which prevented Wolves from going on to make it 2-0. I think he was an unsung hero in that game. I genuinely do. Even though it came off the 60th minute, Ross Barkley came on. But the reason he came off is because it was a game where Ross Barkley was needed to retain possession and keep the pressure up. Whereas Onana, first half, was desperately needed to just stop the Wolves' onslaught. And I bet you he saved us from going 2-0 down. He did the same against Ipswich. There were numerous tackles where if the player just got past him, there was a world of problem for Villa's defence. He's added so much with his tackling ability. There are things he can improve on. He's 22 years of age. So, of course, it's a growth process for him. It's a new learning process. Obviously, there's things he can improve on, but he's done really well in a lot of games as well for Aston Villa. And I think that tackling ability tomorrow is going to be so needed because we're gonna bloody need him, aren't we? With Musiala coming in or Pavlovic pressing forward or a Gnabry coming across or a Kane comes deep like he likes to do. Onana and Tielemans are going to have a big old job on them tomorrow. Now, what can't happen, and this is where Kane's dangerous, when he comes deep, which is what he loves to do, we can't have whoever it is marking him, Pau Torres, Diego Carlos, Ezri Konsa, whoever, they can't follow him. Because if they do, Gnabry. Look at that space that opens, right? Look at that. Gnabry can get inside. You can have an Elise comes inside. You can have a Musiala work space so Kane can pass it in, can lay it off to a Kimmich. Kimmich then sends a pass in there to a Gnabry. Goal. You cannot follow Kane. Just let him go and just, all right, turn now. Don't let him shoot, for God's sake, but don't automatically just follow him. And that's going to be a really crucial thing for Villa not to do tomorrow because Kane's going to want to do that. It's what he always does, isn't it? Elise obviously likes to come inside and he can go out right, of course. So that's going to be, bloody hell. I mean, look, these attacking players are absolutely genuine, bona fide world class, all of them. They're amazing players. Gnabry's refound his form. Musiala is absolutely incredible. And I just think sometimes with players like Musiala, as strong as your defensive capabilities are, there are probably just going to be games where this guy does something where you hold your hands up, you go, that's the level we're at now. That's the level. Anyway, I'll just mention a few things to you, about some of their recent games now and the trends that we're noticing. So they played Leverkusen at the weekend. They drew 1-1, 18 shots to 3 from Leverkusen. Leverkusen scored from distance. And that's going to be it. Villa are going to have to be clinical because the likelihood is Bayern Munich are going to have in their 4-2-3-1 with an aggressive 5 push up top, 3 in the back, the double pivot in front, or maybe they push an extra player on for an ultra aggressive press and have 2 defenders back. We are going to get a lot of pressure put on us, right? But we just have to be mature and capable and stick to our position, stick to Emery's instructions. But as I said, 70% possession, 18 shots to 3 against Leverkusen. They played Werder Bremen the week before and they won 5-0. 25 shots to 0, 70% possession. Again, Zagreb, the 9-2, 29 shots to 4, 70% possession. How on earth are they continuously getting 70% possession? Guess what happened in the next game? Holstein Kiel 6-1, 23 shots to 5, 71% possession. Freiburg 2-0, 12 shots to 9. So, look, Freiburg had a lot of chances against them. 12 shots to 9, 67% possession. Wolfsburg, they won that 3-2, 15 shots to 10 shots. So again, Wolfsburg had a lot of chances against them, 71% possession. And what I would argue is against Freiburg and Wolfsburg, they played 2 probably better opposition than they did when they played Holstein, who were not that great. Zagreb, who frankly are just not at the level when it comes to Bayern. And Werder Bremen, not brilliant. And then they had to play Leverkusen. And whilst they far outmatched them for shots and possession, it was a 1-1 draw. So, Freiburg, nine shots, they had chances. Wolfsburg, 2 goals, 10 shots, they had chances. Zagreb, two goals from 4 shots. But the thing is, 70% possession. It's what they continuously do. It's what Kompany's team, Burnley, did as well in the Championship, wasn't it? It was what they tried to do in the Premier League last season, but they just didn't have the players for it. Now, with Leverkusen in that game, the take-ons was Michael Elise and Jamal Musiala and Alphonso Davies, all with 4 each, 2 successes. And the other player who had them, Rafael Guerreiro, the right back. So, he had 3 and 2 successes. So Rafael Guerreiro and Alphonso Davies, 2 of the highest take-on numbers in the team. So clearly their fullbacks play a crucial attacking role in what they do. Joshua Kimmich, again, incredible player. He had 10 shot creating actions with 1 goal creating action. Alphonso Davies, again, that name, 5 shot creating actions. He was second most in the team. Kimmich had 129 passes, 121 completed, so 94% pass completion. I think Villa should come back and just stick tight to him. Make it hard for him. Get one of Ramsey or Rodgers to come back here and just stick close to him. Don't give him loads of space like Everton did for Yuri Tielemans, for instance. Just get tight to it and prevent him playing. Now, of course, that creates space for other players, and players like Pavlovic, who are absolutely fantastic as well, young players, or Goretzka or Paulinho. I mean, Jesus, it's quite a squad in it. But whoever it is, stick tight. Just don't let them have the freedom of the park, essentially. Alphonso Davies. Again, heavily involved. He had 77 passes, which is a very high number for a fullback. 72 completed. This was against Leverkusen. 94% pass completion rate. So, again, Davies, take-ons, passes, shot-creating actions, so involved. And Davies, again, led with 4 tackles and interceptions, showed defensively and offensively, very heavily involved. And Davies, again, most progressive carries in the team with 7, with 5 going into the final third. So as you can see, he loves to get forward. And the game that I always remember with him, Bayern Munich 8, Barcelona 2, very, very infamous game. Kike Setien's final game for Barcelona, a travesty, really, what a performance that was. And Alphonso Davies on Nelson Semedo, who was the right back that day for Barcelona. My God, Alphonso Davies continuously getting down this byline, continuously beating him, getting to the byline and pulling it back. It was a hammer blow. It was a hammer blow to Barcelona. It killed them, and it is what Alphonso Davies can do. It's what he did or tried to do against Leverkusen as well. But bear in mind, I say all this, they only scored 1 goal against Leverkusen. They didn't create tons of chances either, despite all the possession and all the goals. So look, Leverkusen showed a way of playing. Now, something else I mentioned as well, progressive carries. Davies was number 1. Rafael Guerreiro was second, 6, 3 going into the final third. So the thing is, both of these fullbacks are going to get forward. So at Villa Park tomorrow, if it's Guerreiro or Kimmich maybe plays right back and they bring in Paulinho, whoever it is, these fullbacks are going to get forward a lot. And it just means them coming inside. And it means that, look, Leon Bailey, if it's him outright, whoever it is, I'm reluctant to really guess who it is who's going to play tomorrow in certain positions. There could be a surprise pick, like there could just be a surprise pick in there somewhere. Maybe Maatsen goes a right back, and Ezri goes in centrally, or Nedeljkovic then plays as a right midfielder just to be more defensive and to track Alphonso Davies. It's not the worst idea, but I mean, whatever happens, whoever's playing out here on the right with Alphonso Davies is going to have to be so aware of him just coming forward. And look, they invert as well, these fullbacks. And Bayern, push one on like a Kimmich or Pavlovic, a Davies or Guerrero can come inside. So look, they do the lot. They're a very, very complete team. They're a world-class team. It's going to be a full-on day. But look, they didn't beat Leverkusen. They had a lot of chances. Drew 1-0. They conceded a lot of goals. Or they conceded twice against Wolfsburg. Should have conceded more against Freiburg. And they conceded 2 against Zagreb. So look, those teams can do it. If they can get goals, Villa tomorrow in an absolutely red-hot Villa Park stadium can do the same as well. I'm massively excited. It's bloody annoying me I spelled Manuel Neuer's name wrong. Bloody horse correct on that. So it's just annoying me it's there. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, it's going to be a massive test. It's going to be a huge game. It's going to be a huge learning experience for Villa. Whatever happens from it, it will be used for positive building in the future. And when we look back on and go, that's the sort of thing that's what we're capable of. Those sorts of performances, is it's a positive one. And if it isn't a positive one, we look back on it and go, well, we learned from that. Whatever happens, it's going to be a bloody buzzing atmosphere. And it's absolutely incredible what we have achieved in getting from where we were just a couple of years ago to playing one of the best teams in world football right now. Beat them 1-0 in 82. Come on, lads. Let's do it. Up the mighty Villa.